Should I sell my house as is? That's a great question. Hey guys, it's Brad from GeorgiaProbateResource.com. We're a real estate solutions company in Metro Atlanta. We buy houses all over the state of Georgia, and we specialize in the world of probate and inheritance properties. So today I'm going to talk about selling a house as is and whether that's a good idea or not. So I'm going to talk about this from two different angles too. Obviously, I'm an investor. I buy houses. My company buys houses for cash. We specialize in estate properties. But I'm also a licensed real estate agent too, have been for a number of years. So I do have experience in the listing route, going the traditional way, right? So let's talk about this. Obviously, in the estate and probate world, we get this question all the time, which is, will you just buy it as is? And the answer is absolutely. We do it all the time. In fact, 9 times out of 10 on an estate property, we're usually buying the house with a whole bunch of stuff in it. Now, I want to leave a caveat here. And if you are planning on listing an estate property like as is on the market and you just don't want to fix anything, I would highly, highly suggest that you do clean the property out. If it has a bunch of junk in it, you should clean it out. If you need a referral to junk removal companies, we work with tons of them. Depending on where you are, I can get you a referral to the junk removal person we use in that particular area. Usually they're kind of very geographic. I would suggest that you clean the house out, because when you're listing the house on the open market to potential people that might buy in it to live in it, a lot of them can't see past the stuff to actually see the house itself. So the stuff is very distracting. Now, to an investor like me, I'm buying it for cash as is, whatever. I can see past all the junk. I'm used to it, right? But if you're going the other route, you should really clean the house out. All right. So let's talk about as is a little bit further here. Okay. So as is typically means, with most people, their intention is, I don't want to fix anything. I just want to sell it as is. I want to get under contract. I don't want to go through the BS of everything. I don't want you to ask me to repair X, Y, and Z. I'm not paying to repair X, Y, and Z. I just want to sell the house as is, and it's your problem, whatever's wrong with it. And in most cases, most people are completely upfront and honest about all of the things, as you should be. You shouldn't hide things because you can get sued for that if you do misrepresent something. So make sure that you're not misrepresenting things and trying to hide things, but you should absolutely, you can absolutely sell a house as, but if you are selling the house as is, you want to make sure that you're pricing it appropriately. And you also want to make sure that you know who your target audience is. What does that mean, Brad? What's a target audience, right? Okay, well, when you're selling a house, typically you're going to sort of define who might be buying that house, who those potential buyers are. And especially in the case of selling a house as is, it's going to need some work, right? So obviously by it needing work, you're eliminating a certain percentage of your buyer pool who are expecting a move-in ready house, right? Why would a realtor show a move-in ready, or why would they show a fixer-upper kind of as-is house to someone who's expecting a move-in ready? Ironically, it happens more times than you might think. I've listed properties. I list them as is, fixer-upper, handyman special, needs work, da-da-da-da. And then I get feedback from their agent. They're like, yeah, this house needs a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what it says in the listing. Did you not read the listing? Like, why would you show your client this house if they're looking for something move-in ready? Like, what? You're wasting their time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. Like, what are you doing? But it happens, guys. If you're selling as is, you got to think about your target market. So who's going to buy it? And in most cases, you're selling this as is. So you're probably selling it to like somebody who's maybe they watch a lot of HGTV. Maybe they're looking for a fixer-upper to put their sweat equity into so they can make it into their own. But the one thing you have to take into account is that if you are trying to target to that audience, is that in many cases, there is a certain amount of work that's tolerable for that sort of segment of buyers, but there is a point where that's too much work, A, from their capabilities, and B, a lot of times the banks or the lenders will refuse to lend money on a house that needs too much work, especially if there are life and safety issues with the house. There's also this weird rule that I've learned the hard way in this business is that we've listed some houses as is. I bought some hoarder houses and I've sort of cleaned them all out, cleaned all the junk out, and then sort of relisted the house afterwards, just kind of as is. Kind of back when the market was like super hot and you could basically just sell anything for any price and anyone would buy it. That market's gone and over with now. But we would list these houses just sort of as is. We'd get our junk removal people in, they'd clean the house out, and then I'd get my cleaning ladies in there. I had one house, she charged me $900 to clean this house out. Like, it was nasty. They had cats and dogs and junk, and wow, it took a lot to. I made a mistake on that house. I agreed to pay for the move for the sellers, and I don't know who dropped the ball, the moving company or me or whatever, but there was way more stuff. And that move cost me like $2,000 more than originally anticipated. It took the movers like a whole 2 days to clean this house out. There was a lot of stuff. And I still had to do junk removal after the fact and clear the house out and then get my cleaning lady in there. And she charged me $900 to clean this house out because it was so filthy and dirty. It actually looked halfway decent when she was done. I was surprised. But it still had this nasty, grody carpet in it. But the reason we didn't take the carpet up is because in a lot of cases, if you don't have a finished floor covering on the floor and you just have exposed subfloor, the bank won't loan money on the house, which is weird because it's like, well, wait, it's got nasty carpet and the buyers are going to replace the carpet anyways with something new. So why would I replace the carpet? And then, right, the house needs work. So then if I replace the carpet, then I'm going to need to replace that. And I'm going to need to replace this and that. And then like, this is going to make that look bad. And that's going to make that look bad. And then you open up this huge can of worms and eventually you just need to rehab the whole house, because if you fix the one thing, it makes the other things magnified and whatever. Understand that there's a level of tolerability for the buyers on the amount of work that they want to do. If the house needs too much work, especially if there's like structural damage, your big ticket items like roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, all that stuff. Most of these DIYer people are okay with repainting. They're okay with replacing flooring. They're okay with replacing light fixtures. They might be okay with like sort of knocking out a little wall and making it a little bit bigger or whatever. But if there's like major structural issues with the house, there's major work that needs to be done, a lot of these people are going to be afraid of that. And you also have to understand that a lot of these people are getting a mortgage on this house. Maybe they've saved up a chunk of cash to pay for the renovations, but they're going to get a mortgage to actually buy the house. Then they're going to renovate the house with their cash they have. So the house has to be lendable and lendable by a mortgage company. Otherwise, these buyers aren't going to buy it. Now, that's not to say that there aren't buyers out there that are going to buy a house for cash that they're going to live in. But the reality is the number of people that are going to pay cash for a house and buy it are very small. Obviously, that's market dependent, neighborhood dependent, demographic dependent, blah, 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 blah. But in many cases, these people are going to be getting a mortgage. So if the bank doesn't want to loan money on it, then now your only target audience left, or your only potential buyers, are going to be investors. And if you went and listed the property with an agent out on the market as is, but your house needs like too much work and basically your buyers are going to be investors, in my honest opinion, being an investor and a realtor, like, you would have been better off just selling the house straight to an investor to begin with, because what's going to happen is you're going to owe your realtor a commission for selling this house. And all they're going to be doing is getting offers from investors who could have just bought it from you without the realtor and forgone that whole process to begin with, made you a cash offer. Obviously, you're on Google right now. You're on the internet. You're finding these things online. There's plenty of people that advertise online that they buy houses. You could have gotten an offer from them, cut the realtor commission out of the game, because ultimately these people are going to be making the same offer through your realtor to you that they would have made you otherwise. So now you're paying a commission on top of what that offer they're going to buy it from you. So that applies to houses that need probably a little too much work, and your buyer is going to be an investor. Now, once upon a time, and I'm sure these buyers still exist out there, there was a time where you could get a lot of these people that had a lot of cash, and maybe they're like one-time flippers, and this is their first flip, and they've got a lot of cash, and they'll buy it to flip. You know, they call themselves investors, but really they're not experienced investors. And they might buy the house from you and flip it that way, and they might pay you more than the experienced guy. But the reality is since the market correction occurred back in July, a lot of those people kind of got out of the game, and they're not really buying anymore. So the only people kind of buying right now, that's now the market sort of adjusted, is the experienced guys. There was also a period when the market adjusted, and it seems to have sort of gone away, where a lot of the experienced guys bought a bunch of inventory before the shift. They overpaid for it, and they spent the next 6 months trying to liquidate all that inventory, get all these houses off their books, get these flips finished, recapitalize, get their cash back so they can actually buy deals where they're going to make money, because the market all of a sudden went bloop and just dropped off really quick. We lost 16% is what the median price dropped in a span of 3 months. So lost a good bit of value. So a lot of these guys, boom, there went all their profit margin just like that. So now they either broke even on a house. I know guys who've lost some money on some houses, and they're just trying to get those houses off their books so they can get their cash back and buy more houses. And I think we're in that phase right now where some of these experienced guys are buying houses again. But these guys are they're being more cautious about buying what they're buying than they used to be. So keep that in mind. I know this video is really long. Sometimes I just tend to go off on a tangent, but I think I've got a good information here. So I appreciate you checking out this video. So should I sell the house as is? There's some things to think about when you are doing that. If you want to sell the house as is, you want to get a fast cash offer, we'd be happy to make you an offer on that property. Like I said, we buy houses all over Georgia, and we specialize in probate and inheritance properties specifically, but we'll buy properties outside of probate and inheritance. Or if you want to go the traditional route, you think the house isn't in that bad of shape, you just want to list it out on the market, I'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. I am a licensed agent with One Source and Woodstock, like I mentioned before. So if you want to talk about listing the property, we can have that conversation. So thanks again for checking out the video. I hope this helped you out. I'm Brad with Georgia Probate Resource. I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.